From Volusia to Chico, Williams Grove to Knoxville, and all dirt tracks in between and beyond. This is Winged Nation. One full hour of news and interviews with today's top dirt drivers. Now, your award-winning hosts, Steve Post and Kendra Jacobs.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome in. It's Wing Nation on MRN.com, talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the day. Welcome aboard on MRN.com, and if you're watching the video stream, you see we have a full house here for the hour, so we are locked in and loaded. It's World Finals Week. We are so excited about it. Later in the program, Brad Doty going to join us with some big news. Dave Argabright from Sprint Car Midget Magazine going to join us. And the crowd pleaser, Craig Dollansky, going to stop by as well and chat. But Kendra, we're not even waiting for the phone calls to light up because we have a couple of our buds sitting here right with us now.
Yeah, I love this because we don't get this very often where everybody comes to us. So welcome to Charlotte, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We have on the far end. If you're looking at your radio dial, first off, we're on the internet, so you shouldn't be looking at your radio dial. But if you're looking to the far right, we've got Terry McCarl joins us from Iowa. Hey, Terry, how are you?
Good to be here.
Good. And next from further out west in California, Dominic Scelzi's in the house. Hey, Dominic, what's happening?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Man, this is cool. Dominic, we've chatted with you for the last couple of years, and we've followed along with your exploits and success out in California. But now you've moved a little bit to the Midwest. You ran a couple races there, and now you're on the East Coast. Welcome aboard. Good to have you over here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Actually, Frank Beers gave us a tour just a couple minutes ago, and what an amazing facility.
Yeah, we are. We're fortunate.
We're spoiled a little bit. We don't realize that because we just rush in here, do our deal, and rush back
Some of
out
us
to the
rush in
track.
here.
That's what I usually rush
Some
in
of
here.
us rush in here.
T-Mac, tell us about your year. Like, this is where it all ends now.
Yeah, well, hopefully it ends well. It's we get some good weather going for us, but we've had a real up and down year as far as injuries and Dominic here. I know has had a back injury too.
Wow!
I told you he wants to be called Dominic when he's down. That's his Midwest name.
Midwest name, yeah.
Dominic. I'm gonna start that.
Dominic.
So kind of like a stage name.
Yeah.
But no, we've had a great year. You know, we've been pretty fast everywhere we went. Started off the year winning in Vegas and running real well out in California, and I think we led the most laps once we had left the World of Outlaws there to come back to the Midwest. So we were going real well, and then opening night in Knoxville got into a pretty bad crash and fractured a vertebrae, and that wasn't looking very good. But recovered pretty quick from that. We got a couple of fortunate rainouts there in that time span to give us a chance to recover a little bit, and still come back pretty strong. So got a good team, and Doug Rankin was helping me the last few years, and now DJ Brink's come on. And of course, my sons Austin and Carson. So we're having a lot of fun, kind of going where we want, doing what we want, and been pretty successful.
Pretty successful indeed. Dominic, your season, how would you assess it? I know there's some similarities. As Terry mentioned, there's some similarities between you and what Terry have gone through.
A lot of similarities. I've worked with a lot of different people this year, and Kogenauer came on board here since I healed up from my back injury, and we've had a lot of speed, especially the second half of the year, and we won a couple races, and we've been up front a lot, and we've challenged for wins a lot, and it's definitely tough out here racing with these guys. And in California, the competition and the young guys, they're so good. So it's a lot of fun being on the race, and especially coming back here and race with the national guys. It's a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot.
Usually you guys have such crazy schedules that you don't have time to kind of just have fun. But you guys are here a few days early. What have you been doing in Charlotte, and why did you make the effort to come in early?
Well, I like eating, so we got to eat at a lot of different places, and
there we go.
My dad's excited because I told him about all the great restaurants. So I've just been kind of doing that, and enjoying my time here. I was able to go see a couple shops and just enjoying it.
Terry, same thing?
Yeah, we weren't planning on racing last weekend once we left Little Rock, but we found out from the Buffalo Wild Wings guys a couple of USCS races right in this area, so I haven't been able to ever run on those tracks. So we had a lot of fun, picked up a win, ran second on Saturday night, so that worked good to our schedule. Now we're just trying to get all this red dirt out of the trailer and off the cars and switch over to our 410 car. So the guys are pretty busy right now. This red dirt stuff's kind of crazy. It gets on everything. But, it's a lot of fun coming down here. We know a lot of people in the NASCAR area and just looking at all the shops, like you said, and pretty amazing place.
Pretty amazing indeed. Terry, when you talk about picking up that win at Gastonia, one of the things that I always find it interesting how guys sort wins. In other words, I have 22 wins at Knoxville, 16 World of Outlaw wins. One of the things you've always done is wins by state. And how many states now? What was that? You won in North Carolina. What did you check off?
Well, I got to call Bill W., my man, who takes care of my stats. I don't really know him very well, but that's my 21st 21st
Wow,
state. So
that's amazing.
I think 64 or 65 different tracks. So that just tells me that I'm getting old. That's he hasn't even been to that many states.
You know, the first thing I thought of is we need to get him ice racing.
All up in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we have buddies up there that race sprint cars on ice.
Really? That would be
Yes,
fun.
Yeah.
that would be
That'd
that.
fun.
Yeah, you should go up there and try that one. You can click that one off
Boy,
too.
take that
Yeah,
off.
that'd be good.
Click that track off or that lake
I
off.
was
Yeah,
mad.
the lake. It's
That's mad.
basically.
I
Well,
was mad
60
we didn't get South Carolina Saturday night, but we were pretty close. But I don't think I'll be racing there very often, so that's about my only chance probably.
64 racetracks in one lake. How about that? There you go. Exactly. Let's take a look at the Valco Racing Wheels results page. Not a lot going on, quite honestly. The Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, they wrapped it up with the 28th Annual Comp Cam Short Track Nationals. This was a 4-night show that became a 3-night show that became a 2-night show. It was a disaster. It really was. Weather just devastated this one. One preliminary night, Aaron Reitzel, the Lucas Oil National Champ, picked up the win over Jack Hodenshield and Blake Hahn. Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association, how about this? Danny Smith, 41 straight years when he has won a race. T-Mac, 41 straight years is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really impressive. I'm glad to see him get that. Danny's a great guy and a great ambassador for our sport, so I hope he can keep it up. I know I think he's making his last hurrah in Australia this year too. So that'll
Is
be
this
fun.
his last trip down there?
That's what I thought I read.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
He's a big name over there. He's won the Classic quite a bit, and that's like their Knoxville Nationals over there. So, yeah, Danny's a pretty big hero over there, and he's done a great job over there and pretty popular with the fans.
Yeah, I saw on his Facebook they were putting everything in a cargo container about a month and a half ago. So he's going over. He's a 6-time winner of the Warrnambool Classic over in Australia. And finally, USCS. Terry mentioned it. Cherokee Speedway or Carolina Speedway. T-Mac picked up the win. Cherokee Speedway. Trey Starks was the winner on Saturday night. Valco Racing Wheels results page. Valco, VAH-LCO. Made by racers for racers. Valco Racing Wheels. We need to step away. When we come back, big news out of Ohio. Don't know what it is. Brad Doty said it's going to be big. So we'll talk to Brad Doty next.
This is Winged Nation on MRN.com. We'll be back talking more dirt with Steve and Kendra right after this.
Racers, that's who Valco Wheels are. That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing, and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels.
This Wednesday night, join the Motor Racing Network for MRN 360. It's a full circle look at the sport of NASCAR, hosted by Steve Folst. This 1-hour show will take you from the track into the lives of your favorite drivers.
Can't guarantee anything. That's why we run the race.
Even the fans have a voice on MRN 360.
Personally, the guy doesn't belong in NASCAR. I think he's too hot-headed.
It's MRN 360 this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Motor Racing Network. You're listening to Winged Nation. Now back to Steve and Kendra.
So let me see now. Poor old Dominic or Dominic. Dominic Scelzi
I like it. I think
has
it's got a lot of flair to
said
it.
he's won more
Yeah,
years than
it's
he's
like-
been around, and Kendra, so have you, because he's won 41 years, so that's 18 more years.
Yeah, 18 years
you've been
longer than
around,
I've been
that
alive.
have been alive.
That's right.
So
right.
She's 29.
something like that.
I was told there was no math, so I don't add. I'm just saying 18 sounds like a great number, Steve. I'm
18
with you on
sounds-
that one.
Okay, there we go. Looking out for you. Hey, let's go to our Classic Ink screen printing and embroidery guest line. Joining us now is, let me see, Hall of Famer, promoter, columnist, TV guy, Brad Doty's on the line. Hello, Brad.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Brad, we are doing well. The only thing missing here in the studio is you, Brad. We've got T-Mac, we've got Dominic Scelzi, Kendra and I. Man, we miss you.
Well, with McCarl in there, I was wondering if you guys are all wearing your boots or not. You know, it can get pretty thick in there.
Oh, he called you right out, man.
Wow.
I'm going to be nice to Brad today.
Wow.
I want to hear his big news first.
Yeah, we got to hear this. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here, Brad. I mean, everyone's saying there's huge news coming out of Ohio. What is this news?
Well, it's huge to me. The Brad Doty Classic, the Ohio Logistics Brad Doty Classic, presented by Racing Optics, has been moved to Attica Raceway Park, back home to Attica, where it all started in 1989. And so, really excited and looking forward to working with John Boris and Rex Lejeune and everybody at Attica. and we're going to run it Tuesday, July 12th, with the rain date on Wednesday, July 13th.
Oh, wow.
So leading into the Kings Royal again.
Yep.
With the rain date, with that wiggle room you have.
Yep.
The decision. What all went into this decision, Brad, to move it over to Attica?
Well, boy, a lot of things, but mainly with Eldora going to a Thursday night race, taking our rain date. Dr. Jarvis at Lima Land and all the folks down there weren't comfortable trying to run the event without a rain date, and they unfortunately probably couldn't run it on a Tuesday. So, with their blessing, we started looking around and what our next option would be, and to me, it's a perfect fit to take it, like I said, take it back home to Attica. We could run it on a Tuesday. They've got ample parking. The pit area is all stone and gravel, and they've got camping spots, a lot of camping locations. For the out-of-towners, they're coming in on their way to Eldora. There's some plug-ins, and so a lot of pluses. It was just an unfortunate situation that really had no choice in the matter, and we, I think it's a perfect fit, like I said, to take it back where it all started, and I'm really excited. I'm trying to pull up all the weather stations and checking the weather already in July of next year, but other than that, everything's really good.
You can't control the weather, Brad. Just stop looking.
I know.
But all of you promoters try, I would imagine. Brad, I would think that there wasn't a lot of arm twisting or convincing to Attica to host this race. Was it just something that you both sat down and said, okay, let's do it? Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've had other tracks contact me and stuff, but this was by far the best option, and they were excited, genuinely excited to have it back, and matter of fact, Attica always ran a World of Outlaws race in either May or early June, and they did away with that event. Actually, moved it to July 13th or July 12th and the 13th for our race. So they were excited enough and willing to move their date and have the Brad Doty Classic, back there again. And so, everybody seems really, really genuinely thrilled to have it and be part of it. And actually, UNOH is going to stay on board actually as a heat race sponsor as they were in the past. So they still have some involvement there, but we're looking at some other sponsorships now that it's back at Attica too. So big things in the works. Soon we'll have ticket information and all that, online, and get ready, to let everybody know how and where to get tickets and get this thing going.
Now, Brad, I was wondering, from a driver standpoint, it seems like the drivers that promote races are very successful. Do you feel you have an advantage from being a driver, being able to promote races?
Well, you obviously see that side of it, and Terry's done the same thing, and I think maybe any business, but since racing's all I've ever done, the only business I know, if everyone could wear the other's hat for a while, or be in the shoes of all the other people and players in racing, it would change a lot of attitudes, the promoters could see how much money the car owners spend, and they might try to find.
Sounds like we might have. Do we still have you, Brad? Okay, Craig will work on dialing Brad back up.
Technology's such a wonderful thing.
Exactly. When it works, it's spectacular.
As I'm sitting here tweeting, I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Terry, I want to kind of follow up with what Brad said. Wearing the different hats over the course of time, and you've been wearing these hats for a long time. Team owner hat a long time, driver a long time, and promoter quite a while. How does that help you balance out and seeing? And is there still some, area where you're like, promoters, I'm one of you guys, we need to do this. Team owners, I'm one of you guys, we need to do. How do you balance all that, Terry?
Well, I have to talk to some of them and say, all right, this is Terry McCarl, the promoter, talking right now, or Terry McCarl, the driver. But like Brad said, it's like anything. If you can stand in someone's shoes for a while, you definitely get a different outlook about how things are happening. You know, like at I-30 this weekend, I think I had a different look at it than maybe everybody else. I felt bad for the folks trying to promote that race. That's their biggest race of the year. It's probably where they make the most money, the one they really need to happen the most, I imagine. And then the rain, you know, again. One thing I always say, the most important thing there is about promoting what we do, especially, is the one thing you have zero control over.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating. It's the weather. So I would love to be able to be the Chili Bowl, just because, you know, the fans know they'll pre-buy tickets because they know they're not going to get rained out. They know the race is going to happen. So especially when the economy's been bad the last few years, people are kind of holding a little tighter, waiting to see what the weather what it does. So the weather is so important to what we do, and how you do all that work, and you don't realize you spend so much money and do all that work, and then like Brad last year, I felt so bad for him, and got rained out. There's nothing you can do about it, and so it's very frustrating on that end. But as a driver and stuff, I try to help the people as much as I can, and I know Dominic does quite a bit. Just putting stuff out about where you're going to be, tweeting, Facebook, and things like that. That's free advertising for the tracks and the promoters, telling things what's going to happen. But on the other end of it, like Brad said too, I think the promoters, and a lot of them have the last few years, been stepping up to make it more fun. Sometimes the racing isn't that exciting. We want to make sure it's a good time for the fans, but I enjoy the pomp and circumstance and big trophies like a Trophy Cup, things like that.
It's cool. It's cool. I have a question actually for Brad and Terry both, because you two are both promoting one-off races, okay, with the Front Row Challenge, and Brad with the Brad Doty Classic. But you're both promoting one-off races in the vicinity or prior to one of the biggies. Brad with the Kings Royal, Terry with the Knoxville Nationals. Brad, what are the challenges and advantages, or are there disadvantages of tying into that? And Terry, I want to follow with the same question to you.
Well, from my point of view, I don't think there are any disadvantages. To try to do a midweek show, a midweek World of Outlaws show like that, a standalone show, would be very, very tough. So I'm not very smart, but I'm smart enough to know that, the Kings Royal, a lot of our crowd is coming in, and some have kind of called it the World of Outlaws Ohio Speed Week, with our event, and now especially with Eldor adding another night. So, there are pluses, but I've had other people also suggest to me that, the Friday night crowd at the Kings Royal has grown over the last few years as well, and some have told me they feel that, maybe our race has helped that. It's brought more people thinking, well, we'll travel in, now that we can see another race on Tuesday or Wednesday, or and add the Kings Royal to it, it's worth the trip. So they're coming in, and it's maybe helped the Friday night rather than the people just driving in or showing up for a Saturday night at the Kings Royal.
Terry, how about you working around the Knoxville Nationals?
Well, Bill McCrosky and I started. This was our 20th year this last year, so. When we started it, there was no 360 Nationals weekend before. It was just a Saturday night show the weekend before. So, my friend Bob Berryhill, Aaron's dad, was sitting around telling me, he's like, man, I'm bored. We need a race around here. And I'd always wanted to promote races, and my wife really was, I was like, Oskaloosa would be a perfect place to have a race. And she, I have great ideas, but like most people, I don't follow through with them. And she forced me to call them Monday morning and try to get that track locked up, and we did. And it all went from there. But like I said, there was no 360 Nationals, just a Saturday night show. And kind of like Brad said, and I think he's right, as a fan, I know I would enjoy it, but Ralph used to tell me all the time that he felt Wednesday night's show at the Nationals got bigger and more crowd coming in because they could come and see Oskaloosa on Monday and make a week of it. So I know as a fan, for me, I'd want to come in and catch the Doty too, and then be there for the rest of the week for Eldor. So it makes it kind of a week-long experience for you. If you get the whole week off of work, it's better off for everybody.
Yep.
Well, we just had somebody on Twitter, now that you said, as a fan, I'd like to catch that. As a driver, is there a chance you might come run the Brad Doty Classic next year and the Kings Royal?
Yeah, absolutely. Knoxville has made that not a point here. I'm not real sure of my schedule yet and what we're going to run for sure. But as of right now, again, that's a long ways away.
Sure.
For Terry and McCarl, we don't, people get frustrated, but I don't know where I'm going to race from day to day, let alone month to month. So it all depends on sponsorships and things like that. So if we come, we definitely would. We really like Attica, fun racetrack, and I really like Lima. Lima was a fun racetrack. But I'm really excited about what Eldor has done, and Tony and his guys have done about raising the purse. I think that the purse was amazing back in the day when Earl started it, and it's still a great purse. But for such a big event, I'm really impressed. They stood up. Now it's $3,000 to start, I believe, and $5,000 for 10th. that's great money, and I think it's going to attract a lot more cars. People talk about these other events, and I won't mention their names, but they want to liken themselves to the Knoxville Nationals. The Knoxville Nationals basically pays $10,000 to start. That's awesome.
Crazy.
But you can go like my son Austin in the past few years, run the C, run the non-qualifiers, things like that, and maybe not have a very good week, and then go home and go, man, I made a couple $1,000s, and didn't do very well. So the Knoxville Nationals is an amazing, amazing event, and I love to see that the Eldor's stepping up to put themselves in the same area, and so maybe some of the other ones will too.
Exactly. Get that where it is. Well, Brad, what else you got going on? What's happening in Brad Doty's world?
Oh, just taking care of a lot of leaves. I live in the woods, so it's every day doing some leafing and writing a column for Sprint Car and Midget. Just turned it in, and so it's definitely been a busy time and going through all this, changeover and stuff. It's had me pretty preoccupied. So, never a dull moment.
Nope, never a dull moment. We can catch your work at Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. Brad, as always, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the new announcement. Can't wait to see how things unfold as we get closer and closer to Attica. Thanks for joining us here today on Wing Nation.
Well, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys letting me announce this on your show and tell the whole world about it. And we're really excited. Thank you.
Very excited. That's Brad Doty. Hey, Dominic.
Dominic.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We'll correct you every time.
Exactly.
It's
I think we got it.
Dominic, Brad Doty, what does that name mean to you when you hear of a guy that you never saw race, but what does the name Brad Doty mean to you?
Everybody knows Brad Doty.
Yeah, exactly.
And
You're
that's
right.
Something that's so cool growing up and being able to, I've met him, a handful of times, and there's just a presence about the guy. Same thing with Steve Kinzer, being able to race with him and legends like that growing up, I idolized all these people. Even though some of them weren't racing, all these people like you and especially you.
Wow. Took a little bit of begging there.
Great. That was so great.
I will say, I remember an outlaw show in Tulare. He was on the fence, and I don't remember who he was racing, but him and Joey.
Yeah.
I mean, they slid each other pretty much the entire race, and it was an amazing show. But you idolize these guys, and then you go race with them or meet them, and it's just really special for
you find out they're all not all that special. Are they?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Hey, we need to step away. We mentioned Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. Dave Argabright from Sprint Car and Midget Magazine joins us next. Brad Doty's visit, courtesy of Classic Ink Screen Printing and Embroidery. More than just hats and T-shirts. They've got everything you need. You can find out more information at classicinkusa.com. That's classicinkusa.com.
Hey, this is Jason Sides, and you're listening to Steve and Kendra on Wing Nation here on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
One final lap in the Daytona 500. Joey Logano has the point. Junior crosses over.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
I'm Sammy Swindell. Now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
All right, thanks, Sammy. We appreciate that. Joining us now on the program. You can catch his fine work. Well, you can catch him on MAV TV. Does a lot of stuff with Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. But you can also catch it in Sprint Car and Midget Magazine. Dave Argabright is on the line. Hello, Dave. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Good to be on. Thank you.
Dave, we've got a full house here. We've got Dominic Scelzi. We've got Terry McCarl, Kendra Jacobs, and yours truly. So we've got a full house, as we mentioned here. But, Dave, I had noticed in your most recent column in Sprint Car and Midget Magazine, you were just raving about why you love the World Finals. Now tell us why you love the World Finals.
Well, it's just a great deal to walk around and see so many different people from different elements of the sport. You got the guys from the Northeast that, living in the Midwest, you never see those guys. And you get the sprint cars and the late models all together. It's just a really fun social gathering. I mean, the racing's good too, but it's just one of those deals that's very unique. You can't go anywhere else all year and see quite that lineup of people, and I like that. I like different things. It's a lot of fun. I wish it was a little warmer usually when you go down there, but it's still a neat deal.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about the weather, but luckily we're not going to be battling cold temperatures this weekend. It's actually going to be really warm. Just might be dodging a few raindrops here and there. But Dave, talk to us about, you're kind of a racing aficionado. You know a little bit about every form of racing, or a lot actually about every form of racing. When you come to this event where we have modifieds, late models, and sprint cars, is there one of those three that you get more excited to watch on track?
Well, the modifieds are just so different from me. I mean, I've had no background in those guys. I'm just a fan. I read about them in the speed sport and different places like everybody else. I just don't ever get to see those guys, and so obviously that's a different deal, and I'm a little more interested. But I mean, it's just the unique part of it. It's like you're taking me out of my element a little bit, and that's kind of fun. But really it's cool because I've had the opportunity in the last few years to get more involved in dirt late models and make a lot of friends over there, and it's kind of fun just to see everybody, really.
Terry, do you enjoy seeing those other cars, or are you just so, I mean, you know, there's some people that are on the trailer the whole time watching everything, and there's some guys that are so focused on their own program that the modifieds are here, okay. How do you juggle, or how do you do this one?
Well, I'm like Dave, I'm a fan of all racing, so and again, I've never seen the big blocks hardly ever.
Yeah.
A few times in New York when we were there racing with us, but so it's fun to watch them. I watch them as much as I can. We got a lot of friends in the late model ranks, so that's good to watch. So I think it's just for a fan, they really turned this into such an event. Like you said, you know, sometimes it's a little chilly, sometimes it's this or that, but what a great event it's turned into. And I think, again, as a promoter, I love the pomp and circumstance and getting all the cars out there four
That's
wide.
cool, isn't it?
That was
That's
really,
so
really
cool.
cool. I don't know whose idea it was, but it was awesome. But, you know, just the whole World Finals thing, when they started it, I thought, man, I don't know how they're going to get a crowd without the Cup guys across the street down in Charlotte. But it's been an amazing event. I just love the atmosphere of it. It's something you really want to win as a driver just because of the feel of it. It's become a great event.
Yeah, I love going to this race because traffic gets ridiculous, and you're like, why? There's no NASCAR in time, then you realize it's all for us.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
all these people are here for us. Dave, looking back on the 2015 season, it's hard to believe that we're talking about it like it's past tense already. But what are the big storylines that you saw come out of the 2015 sprint car season?
Well, first you got to talk about Donnie Schatz, obviously. He had a career year, and he's really just now hitting his stride. It's kind of scary, some of the things he's going to be able to accomplish before he's done, and that's a great story. I also think Shane Stewart had a breakout year with the Outlaws this year. There's a great story there. You got to love that guy. Also, you know, the All-Stars with the new ownership, the way everything's coming together for them. The NSL has been a great story for sprint car racing, all good things, and a lot of good news. You know, we sometimes the sport ebbs and flows, and you get caught up in a lot of negative stuff with either rules or this and that going on, and we're at a good place right now. A lot of good things happening.
Indeed. You know, one of the other things, and you talked a lot about 410 racing, but Dave, we see you doing a lot of work on MAV TV with the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. Saw you up in the Northwest and Knoxville doing stuff with the 360s. Looks like they've got a new rising star with Aaron Reitzel over there. He just clinched the championship. Pretty cool to see the dynamic of a guy like him against the veterans like Johnny Herrera and Wayne Johnson. That's been a pretty cool year as well.
It has been, and that's an interesting group of guys right there you just named. Really different personalities. You know, Aaron's the new younger guy. He comes from all the way down in remote part of Texas, really way down on the coast there, and he's a neat story. I mean, he's not a high-dollar kid. His family doesn't have a ton of money, and he's worked really hard so far, and it'll be fun to watch, you know, the next few years, you know, what his career path takes and where he lands, and he's just a nice young guy. It's fun to talk to him, and it's fun to watch him race.
You know, we're in the heart of silly season too, which no one enjoys this part of the season, especially two guys next to me who are drivers, and luckily neither one of them are in the midst of it this year. But what are you anticipating some of the changes will be before we get to Florida in 2016?
Well, I thought, you know, with what Motter, you know, Dan Motter talked about, it's a strain to run a World of Outlaws team right now financially. It's still very difficult, and it's very difficult to find corporate money. I mean, a lot of times people on the outside say, well, why don't you just go out and get some sponsorship? Man, you know, you just can't believe how hard it is to get somebody to give you a check. I mean, everybody talks about it, and Terry, you know what this is. I mean, you approach people and you can promise them a lot of good things and work really hard to represent them well, but to talk a guy into giving you a big check is very, very difficult. And the expense of this thing is still very, very problematic. I mean, it's expensive to race. And I think we're going to see a little bit more of that shake out before we're finished. And I think everybody wants to try to find a way to beat Donnie Schatz. And so if you're not struggling with money, then you're struggling on finding the right chemistry and the right lineup of guys that can somehow beat Schatz. So I think we're going to see a little more shuffling probably before everything settles.
Wait, it's interesting you brought up the cost of racing, and I will tell you from working on the business side of the sport, yes, finding sponsors is far more difficult than anyone could ever imagine. But we've talked a lot to race drivers, to fans, to owners, crew chiefs lately, and asked them what are some cost-effective changes that could take place in the sport that could help things. And we've heard a lot of different suggestions. You know, the SOD, Sprints on Dirt, announced their new rules for next year that they're saying are for cost-effective reasons. We've also heard limiting engine rules and tire rules could change things. From your point of view, do you think any of these are actually feasible or could actually come to fruition?
Well, it's hard to say, and I'm not trying to dodge the question, Kendra. I mean that sincerely. It's hard to say. Most of the time with these things, you really don't know what you've got until you implement the rule and then let it play out. And that's a very dangerous thing because the law of unintended consequences is always kind of hovering around there. And one of the challenges is that we cannot regulate the cost of diesel fuel. We cannot regulate, the cost of insurance. We cannot. Those are a big part of running a race team. Those are overhead items that you can't get around. And with the type of travel schedule, for example, with the Outlaws run, travel has got to be a big, big piece of that number, and you can't do much about that. And so, yeah, I think we've made some good strides in recent years with the weight rule and different things like that actually have helped. I still think, there's a way maybe we could make tires last a little bit longer, but that's probably as much a cultural thing as a technology thing because in sprint car racing, I noticed that it's a lot different than late models. The late model guys will use a tire several times. More likely, they'll grind on it and cut it a little more. And sprint car guys kind of have the mindset that the heat cycle kills them, and they want to get fresh tires at every opportunity. So, there's a lot of tweaks and things, but probably it's just very challenging from an official standpoint to find the right formula.
Indeed it is. It's and that I was watching T-Mac when you were talking about the law of unintended consequences. You've probably seen those over the course of your career, haven't you, Terry?
Well, again, like Dave said, and you guys have asked me on the show before, I don't know the answers either because for every action, there's a reaction that you're not sure what it's going to be. So, with us, especially with the World of Outlaws top teams, they're going to throw those tires out anyway. We wear those things out. You could put a brick on them, I guess, but they just keep making these changes to us and taking our wings away and our tires away. And I keep hearing people say, man, the racing was so awesome in 1990 when Bobby Allen won the Nationals. Well, you got to remember that Mark Kinzer had the Nationals won and blew an engine. He had a 3-inch wicker bill on that thing, I know for a fact, and big old tires. And so what's happened? So as a driver, every time they keep making these rules, and an owner, it costs me money, but I think it makes the racing worse. Mm-hmm. So, I have mixed emotions. Again, I don't know the answers. I don't think I know the answers. And there's so many. And it depends on the track that you race, the group that you race with.
That's right.
Back at Knoxville, we run one tire a night. I don't mind that as a car owner. Makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to run my sons too. So it's kind of cost effective. Knoxville's not hard on tires though. Generally, we could run one tire all night. But as the Outlaws travel around, a lot of times they wear out a tire in a heat race. You can't send them out there, and you're just going to cause crashes. So again, they keep trying to. The fans, I read the stuff they say, and most of them don't know what they're talking about. Sorry, but sorry you guys out there, you don't. And if you haven't spent, Kendra's been around it. Work 60, 80 hours a week and put every penny you have and then some into these things, and then go out and drive them. I got to quote Jason Myers, a very smart guy and someone I respect. And back in the days when we had the split and we'd have a lot of meetings, he said, I thought was the best answer to this thing. And he said, stop taking our wings away from us. Stop changing our tires. It's dirt track racing. Again, this is difficult too. He said, come feature time, give us a little bit of moisture on the bottom, a little bit of moisture on the top, and slick in the middle, and look out. We will give you guys a great show. Those World of Outlaw guys and even the guys in California, Midwest, will give you a great show if you can give us a track like that. Again, I know that's difficult to do because, it's dirt racing. Mm-hmm. So quit changing our rules. I know in 2009, I came from the back at Knoxville. The worst I finished all year was 4th. I didn't run there full time, and I had to run through the B a couple times. You had to start last, and the worst I finished was 4th. I don't think there's any way anyone, maybe Donnie Schatz, on a local show could come from the back and run top 3 or 4 without a bunch of yells and a bunch of luck. So I hate that they keep taking our tires away and our wings away. And every time I go to Australia, they got open tires, more of an open tire, more of an open wing, and I'm like, man, my car is so fun to drive. Or I go race 360s where you can have a bit of a banana wing and different stuff, and I'm like, man, this car is awesome to drive. Oh, I got a wing on this thing. So, I understand the fans, how they feel, and I want to see great racing. Technology is technology. You can't stop it.
That's right.
It's just the way it is. But, I think back to what Jason said. If we could really focus on trying to have a great racetrack come feature time, and I know SLS does a good job about that, but give us a little bit of top, a little bit of bottom. Some guys like to run the bottom, some guys like to run the top, and they look out. It'll be a great race.
Indeed, interesting stuff, really is. So, Dave, what's on the docket for you? What's the latest project? What are you working on?
Well, I just finished a book on the Jimmy Wilson series, the fictional series I do in the magazine. We've got a 4th volume coming out this week, and kind of excited about that and getting everything finished up. And it'll be a short off season, like everybody knows. There's the indoor race in Indy in December with PRI, and there's Chili Bowl is coming right up, and then next thing you know, we're all in Florida. So it's just a short deal, and then we're right back at it. So, but I like it. I like what I do, and I'm very, very fortunate, and I don't mind getting back to racing fairly quickly.
No, we're good with a little downtime, but not a lot of downtime, that's for sure. Dave, as always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for your insight. Thanks for joining us on Wing Nation.
It was great to see Terry actually in studio there in North Carolina. I kind of figured at first maybe it was just a matter of time that he made everybody mad in Iowa and had to relocate. But it's just great to see him down there, and he's such a good guy, Terry.
There's usually food here, though. I always hear him eating on here. They got all this food.
That's only when people like you send us sample stuff.
Me and Dominic show up, and there's nothing to eat or drink or nothing.
I know.
We're all
Steve, get on that.
Terry.
Steve has
Terry,
cough drops over here. We can pass those
They're not
out.
working.
Terry, if you're actually talking about free food, you have officially joined the media ranks right there. Brother. You are part of that.
That is so
indeed.
true.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for your time, Dave.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There you go, DaveArgabright.com or Sprint Car and Midget Magazine is where you can follow him. Of course, Dave does a lot with the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum, and one of the things we do here on Wing Nation is we like to highlight some of the birthdays, all right? So, and you can find out more information at sprintcarhof.com. Birthdays this week, okay, Calvin Landis, a racer out of Knoxville, his birthday was Sunday. Danny Young, who we tragically lost a few years back, his birthday is today, okay? Hunter Schurenberg, birthday on Saturday, but listen to this, tomorrow, Kenny Weld, class of 1997. Kendra, he, in the early 60s, ran from the jalopy cars to the sportsmen to the super modifieds, climbed the ranks, and in 1964, at 18 years old, won the Knoxville Nationals. Then he got traveling. They called themselves the Kansas City Mafia, and they traveled all around the country. He was a 5-time Williams Grove champion. 1975, left sprint car racing, went modified racing, which the modifieds like we'll see. Started working on cars at Reading, and in 1980, revolutionized dirt modified racing by showing up at Syracuse with a car called the Batmobile that went a second and a half or 2 seconds faster than everybody else. Aerodynamics was introduced to modified racing. With his brother, Greg, they founded Weld Racing, of course, one of the big names in the parts business. Tragically, we lost Kenny in 1997 to cancer. But another one of the great Hall of Fame inductees, the story is chronicled at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
That's a legendary name in racing. When you hear Kenny Weld, he's synonymous with sprint car racing from Pennsylvania to the Knoxville Nationals. He's one of those big names in the sport.
No doubt about it. Weld is a big name, and certainly are, so we're saluting Kenny Weld, whose birthday would have been tomorrow. Again, more information at sprintcarhof.com. That's sprintcarhof.com. Stay with us. The Crowd Pleaser joins us next.
I'm Danny Holcraver, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The American Sprint Car Series returns for its 24th year. Over 150 events across national and regional schedules, 56 cities, 16 states, and some of the sport's best like Herrera, Swindell, Hafertepe, and Reitzel, along with the next generation of stars. See the full lineup of events at ASCSRacing.com. Get updates on Facebook and Twitter, and catch every Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour event live on RacingBoys.com.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease? Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what your sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
I'm Paul McMahon, now back to Wing Nation with Steve and Kendra.
Wow. We are having so much fun. We're glad you joined us. Dominic Scelzi has had to leave us, so
yeah, I think it's because you keep coughing, Steve.
I know. I've had this cough. Believe
Between
me,
your cough and my illness.
Yeah, look at T-Mac. T-Mac has got a surgical mask on now.
I don't blame him at this point.
I have had this cough for like 2 months and been to doctors. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, and the good news is stuff's moving around up here. Hopefully it's moving out. That's the thing. But, been frustrating.
And not moving on us.
No, frustrating for sure. Frustrating for sure. Hey, let's go to the guest line. Joining us now is Craig Dollansky, the crowd pleaser. Hello, Craig.
Hey, how are we doing today?
We're doing all right today. How are you doing today?
We're gaining on it. Just back here in Minnesota at the moment, and good to visit with you guys today.
Well, we appreciate it. Craig, we're down at Knoxville earlier this year. We're all celebrating the Knoxville Nationals. We're throwing stuff off the stage. We're having a great time. We bring the crowd pleaser up, and you drop something on us that we did not see coming at all. Your battle this summer with Lyme disease. And it just absolutely floored Kendra and I. We were like, wow, how did we miss that? How did we not see it? How are you doing with that battle? Are you closer to full strength, back at full strength?
Yeah, it's been quite a process, and I think once we figured out what it was, it definitely was fighting all year long, and still am here. But we're at the the tail end of it. It's been a bit of a battle, and was sick all summer, basically from spring on. So it's been an education process, I can tell you that. Learning about it, and after going and seeing a specialist, I'm about halfway through a intravenous treatment program where they got a power glide in my left arm. It's there's a needle that goes in my arm about 4 inches into my blood vein, and so I have 28 days of every morning getting antibiotics pumped straight into my bloodstream. So it's working. We got a little ways to go yet, but hopefully within the next 2.5, 3 weeks I can get back to get back to being healthy 100% and get back to training and getting ready for racing next year.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Lyme disease. So is this something that you basically get back to 100% and it's gone, or is it something that you'll continue to fight?
Yeah, there were some unknowns about that as well, Kendra. And again, I've been learning as I went with this whole thing. It started this spring with some pretty major fevers and sweating and some weakness in my left leg. And actually, I went to a neurologist about maybe 3 weeks ago, just trying to figure out what's going on with my left leg. And then from there, I went to a specialist that specializes in this type of area. And she was a great doctor, very informative. And she said, 100%, Craig, that we can get this out of you and get you going on this program here. And we started it that day. I really, when we started it, I thought I was going to go and just get a shot into my blood vein. And all of a sudden, they took me into a hospital room and they started installing this power glide on my arm. And I was going, wow. I really wasn't sure what I was in for there, but again, just had to kind of buckle down and get it done and get going with it. So I'm definitely starting to feel better. I can tell that it's working, it's effective, and she looked at me and said, 100%, I can get this out of you. So we're working through that process and looking forward to getting healthy again and get back to training and feeling better.
Well, mine working?
You're not working.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh.
There we go. We're just working. We're working through technical glitches here. There we go.
Worries.
You're working now, Terry. You can't hear yourself, but you're working.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
I can hear you.
All
You're
right,
good.
all right, there we go.
Yeah.
I thought I ruined my joke. I said I thought Lyme disease was from drinking too many margaritas, but I guess we found out
guess
today
not.
it's from something else. I've had that other Lyme disease a lot, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that can happen too. But
Yeah.
no, actually, it started with Luke was back, and his dog got lost in the woods, and fortunately, he's got a great puppy there, Rex, and we found him. I found him for him, but knew when I got bit by a tick, and it's actually a pretty major problem up here in Minnesota right now, and they tell me it's from New York all the way across, but just something you got to be aware of, and definitely caught me off guard, but we'll battle through it.
Well, Craig, you and I chatted after you got off the stage. We're standing down there in turn number 4, and you were sharing with me, when you get healthy, you're going to tear a gym up. What is, I'm standing there, and I've tried to describe what you do when you go to a gym, and I know you're fit, I know you're in great shape, but when you get healthy, what is your gym routine like?
I'm not sure if that's quite how I said it, Steve, but that's all right. At the end of the day, I think physical fitness is obviously a pretty important part of our sport, and both myself and Terry have had our share of injuries, which make it harder to train. And when you put this on top of something like past injuries, it just makes it difficult. But I've always tried to keep myself as best I could in shape and ready to race every night. And at the end of the day, these teams put a lot of work and effort into these race cars, and from the car owners and sponsors and everybody who supports them. It's something I always try to take fairly seriously. So again, I wasn't able to do it all summer. I worked out very little. I couldn't, and I'm looking forward to getting back to that here towards the end of November. But at the end of the day, I think all the drivers, we all, you got to work at it. I mean, it's you just don't get in these race cars and drive them.
Now that we're saying that's coming to its an end, thankfully, and this season's getting put behind you, what is the outlook for you in 2016?
Well, we're going racing again with TKS Motorsports. We definitely enjoyed our time with Troy and Tam Renfro and Caitlin and Sid, and great family to be involved with. And they got some great people involved with the team and behind it. Starting with Don Lamberti and Casey's General Stores, and we're working together to try to strengthen things so we can run a more of an aggressive type schedule next year. I thought it was a blessing in disguise for myself this year to run more of a lesser type schedule while I try to work on getting healthy here again. So I have no doubt in my mind I'm going to get back to where I was, physically and get healthy. But at the end of the day, it probably wasn't a bad thing that I raced that much this year. So again, we're very much looking forward to going back to racing with them guys next year and hopefully run quite a few more races, which is what we're working on right now. And we got Aggressive Hydraulics on board again and Stone Mountain Access, and we just continue to work to try to get ourselves strong and get ready to get after it in 2016.
As you've looked at 2016, there's so much happening in the Midwest, so much happening with all the schedules, and I know all the schedules are not out. Is there an area, a tour, a track, or something you think you're going to focus on, or is that still too early to determine?
It's still a moving target right now. I think, there's some things that are going to, maybe get hammered out here as time goes on as far as schedules and things. But, at the end of the day, the NSL series was a great series that was created for the Midwest. And obviously we're going to, work on running that as well as Knoxville and a handful of outlaw shows and just kind of a mixture of things. So, at this point, I think there's there's going to be probably some things that are going to be a little bit different here as we move forward, whether it's somebody's schedule or what have you. But at the end of the day, I'm just focused right now on getting myself back to normal. And fortunately, I got a great family and support system behind me that's helped me through that process. And, definitely going to be looking forward to 2016. It's, I think this will be the first year I missed the World Finals, I think, since it started. So kind of missing that, but hopefully it's a place we can get back to next year. And, me and Terry, we kind of started out with a bang with our teammate process there back in 2010 with big game tree stands. And
my shoulders are still hurting
so
from that one.
Terry's down there. Terry's had a great year this year. I wish him the best down there, as well as his families. They've had a great year, and hopefully they have a good run down there.
Yeah, the first night Craig and I were teammates, he got mad at me about something, and I don't know what it was, but got a little snafu crash there in turn 2. My shoulders are still. I every time I see him, I'm like, oh, my shoulder's still hurting from that one, Craig. Thanks, but a lot of people don't know it. But I've known
I
Craig.
told Terry this. Go ahead, Terry. Go ahead.
I should be sending you my massage therapist bills, but Craig and I've known Craig since he was 12 years old, and my dad would go to North Star Speedway on Sunday, and his dad was up there racing, and my dad would make me sit in the stands, and I'm like, I seen this little guy driving a push truck. I'm like, what the heck? Come to find out, it's Craig Dollansky. Not only was he in the pits, he's driving a push truck. My dad wouldn't let me out of the grandstands. I'm like, what? There's that Dollansky kid driving a push truck. He's like, you ain't doing that. So we've known each other. Our lives have kind of paralleled each other quite a bit with racing and family and dads and injuries and things like that. So, I'm curious, Craig. I mean, are you content? You happy with? I know Troy and Tammy have a great team, and things are going really well in the Midwest with the NSL thing in Knoxville and Badlands Speedway. But is your goal to get back to the World of Outlaws if that came to you? If you had a good offer and a team you thought you could work with, is that something you wanted to do? Or, I know I would love to race with the Outlaws again if I could, or if I could afford it. But again, what's going on in the Midwest is pretty nice if you can't run the Outlaws.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. And right now our focus is on 2016, and we're committed to that with Troy and Tam and trying to get this team as strong as we can and make some changes. We know that there were some things that that we had to build on from this past season and try to strengthen some things, and as well as myself. So and also get racing more. I think me and Troy raced maybe 16 races together.
Are you running for president? I don't think you answered my question very good.
Oh boy!
Hey, what are you trying to ask me about the World of Outlaw Tour?
Yeah, if you got a good outlaw, I'm trying to make Troy mad, I guess. So if you got one of these teams that open up gave you a call, are you going back outlaw racing? Is that a goal of yours? It's a goal of mine. I don't think Troy would be mad if you said that might be a goal. If you had a good opportunity, he might understand that. But or are you content? Are you content hanging out at home? And being home is great. I love being around my family and helping my sons.
Stirring the pot here, Craig.
This is great being here. I could be like Kendra.
I knew this.
Give us a straight answer,
this was going to be good or bad, one or the other, and I still haven't determined.
No, it's a fair question, and at the end of the day, as I told Troy and Don Lamberti, there were some goals that I still would like to achieve in racing, and being on the top 10 all-time win list with the World of Outlaws with the caliber of drivers that have run that series over the years. It's something that I'm proud of for all the people that have supported me and helped me get there, and the people that I've won them races with. So, at the end of the day, in answer to your question, Terry, I'm pretty content where I'm at with the team I got. We definitely need to race more, and so that's what we're working on for next year.
Great.
I think it'll make us stronger as a team, and it's been good for me this year to try to work through this process I've been dealing with the Lyme's disease and just get strong again. So. No, in answer to your question, I'm content with where I'm at, and we'll see what the future holds here. Hopefully, we'll go out and have a great year next year. But at the end of the day, there's still some things I want to accomplish in racing, and whether it's winning NSL shows, World of Outlaw shows, Knoxville Nationals, or what have you, we're going to go at it with all we got. I know that.
Sounds good.
Absolutely, Craig. We're glad to hear the process with your body is going better, and the process with your team continues to grow. Thanks for joining us here today on the show.
Hey, Steve, real quick.
Yeah.
When me and Terry had that altercation in 2010,
I
think I've told Terry this, but after I left Charlotte, I go deer hunting in northern Minnesota, and I was up in my big game tree stand hunting, and I was kind of talking to myself going, Craig, was there anything going to be wrong with Terry running fourth and you running fifth? Was it going to be that bad? Did you really have to start it out with a bang like that? But anyhow, it was just kind of funny. I tried not to answer myself, but I did have a conversation.
There you go, up in the big game tree stand. That's awesome. Thanks for
You guys have a good time down there, man. I wish you guys all the best.
Wish you were here, Craig, but thanks for joining us. There we go.
Thank you.
The crowd pleaser joining us here on the program. Stay with us, everyone.
Hi, I'm Kyle Larson, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Your destination for sprint car history. Check out the Salute to Champion Doug Wolfgang exhibit featuring 5 of Doug's sprint cars, all 5 of his winning Knoxville Nationals trophies, as well as helmets, uniforms, and other Wolfgang memorabilia. Also check out Damian Gardner's world's fastest sprint car that the Demon drove at 211 miles per hour at Bonneville. Open 7 days a week all year in the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum.
The new standard in race car screen printing and embroidery, Classic Ink USA. Full custom race car track swag apparel, quality customer service, and the industry's finest graphic designers, assuring quick turnaround and the highest customer satisfaction. See the latest designs at ClassicInkUSA.com, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or call us 724-482-6224. Serving racers and their teams, all divisions, all over the world. Classic Ink USA, at the track and on your back.
This is Winged Nation. Back to Steve and Kendra.
Having a great time here. We appreciate you joining us. Terry McCarl hanging out with us a little bit longer. But Kendra, before we get back to T-Mac, our Kick It Driver of the Week. What do you have for us?
Yeah, well, it's like these stories that we never know about that happen, right? So we depend on all the fans listening to fill us in on what goes on the track. But the big key of this award is it's what does someone do off the track that makes a difference. So Braden Sage, he listens to the show, corresponds with us a lot on Twitter. He let us know that this week at Short Track Nationals, everyone's kind of bored and rain's falling and everyone's kind of miserable. Well, there was a little girl there who apparently had gotten really, really good grades. So Bobby and Jason Johnson rewarded her with some gifts out of their souvenir trailer. So just another one of those small moments that probably made a big difference to that little girl. So this week's Kick It Driver of the Week for going that extra mile and doing something out of the ordinary, Jason Johnson.
We can make one fan at a time, one kid a fan at a time. Boy, that is really, really big. We are set for a big weekend with the World Finals. T-Mac, how you looking coming into this thing?
Good. I mean, we've been going pretty well, and got a new rider coming in to hopefully get qualified well, and it's going to be a tough event. This always is a tough event. A lot of great guys, a lot of guys from the All-Stars, the Outlaws, and guys like me coming in, so it's going to be a fun one. Hopefully we win it.
What's the off-season look like, or is there an off-season?
There's not much. You throw in the holidays. I always tell everybody we're going to take a little vacation. We don't get much vacation time, and then off to maybe Yuma in the first few weeks of January, then off to Australia for a couple weeks.
I love that schedule. So you really get 1 week, 2 weeks
Not
maybe?
very much.
Yeah, but that's just enough to relax and then get right back in.
Well, you get tired, after the Nationals, you think, I got to have some time off. But about 2 days into it, you start jonesing, I got to get to a race. So it'll be the same thing in the
It's
off-season.
kind of the pace we all run. It really is. Well, Terry, I appreciate you spending some time with us. Thanks for joining us.
It was fun being here. I appreciate it.
There we go. Terry McCarl joining us.
I'm
Kendra.
sorry we didn't have food. Next time.
Yeah,
Next time
I'll bring
we'll
it.
feed you.
I'll bring it next time.
Kendra, coming up, Wing Nation on MAV TV on Saturday. Casey Kane
Yeah,
going to join us.
Great conversation
Casey
with Casey.
Kane joining us. Later in the week, we have Wing Nation Weekend presented by Hefner Racing Products. And, of course, MRN.com, your source for all motorsports and World of Outlaw World Finals news.
Yeah, don't forget, we're live Friday from the track. 12 to 3 with our buddies from Sling and Dirt, the Strummies.
12 to 3,
and
Sling
then
and Dirt.
Saturday,
we're at Hercules Tires location at Punchy's Tire up in Concord, right on the main drag in Concord. Greg Wilson going to join us. So we're at 10 o'clock on Saturday, noon to 3 on Friday from the Pavilion, right at the dirt track in
rain
Charlotte.
or shine, we're there.
We'll be there. Exactly. Going to be big. Going to be big. Hey, we appreciate Brad Doty, Dave Argabright, Craig Dollansky for joining us on the line. Appreciate Dominic, Scelzi, and T-Mac for joining us in studio. Thank you for joining us here on Wing Nation on MRN.com.
You've been listening to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.